Long time no see. It's Sheena. You are here back with me. I'm still up to the same old thing, so we will catch up. What I've been up to over the last few years. Petey's about to start barking. The moment I hit record, of course, and he hasn't barked in years. How about that? Well, we'll welcome you back to Petey. So, back to what I've been up to. It has been a minute. So before I even get into that, make sure you like the channel, subscribe, hit the bell, because I have really nothing but time and stuff to talk about. So we are jumping back into whatever this is. Again, catch up, go back and forth through the years to see what we've been up to. I think over the last couple of years, I have been doing updates where, what did I do? The house. When I bought the house, I did the video on how to buy a house in 30 days. And then I did Amazon favorite video because I love a good Amazon faves. So make sure you check those out. And then again, make sure you like and subscribe to get all the new things coming as we move forward. So I wanted to jump back into content creation in general. Over the last few years, I own my own business and I found myself in a prison. It felt like I'm in the buildings, just maintaining them, marketing them, making events, doing things that were just filling the space, but they weren't really fulfilling. So I did still have a great network. I still met lots of amazing people who needed business consulting, needed coaching and guiding through entrepreneurship and just some things that I've learned and become an expert in more or less over the last few years. Pretty much my career, have a strong foundation in leadership, team management, organizational management. I was in the military, so there's quite a bit of hierarchy and leveled management there. So bringing those type of things to entrepreneurship is something that I'm pretty good at. And then since I guess the last channel update, I graduated with my degree from Winston-Salem State University in interdisciplinary studies. That was important for me because I had already had a lifetime, at least my lifetime, of things that I have learned along the way, different certificates, education, lived experience, and those things mattered to me because they made up who I was. So making the decision to go to a school that was still very foundational in the person that I am. Service is something that they pride themselves in. We pride ourselves in as Rams. And that is something that I pride myself in as a person, as a servant leader, understanding the emotional side to management, emotional side to operations, and just thinking through how to continue to make that progress. And it continued to still be more important to make build my network, make the connections that were important, not only for me, but for other people. There are other people growing their businesses and needing services and things for themselves that I might not need to be a part of, but because my community is so diverse, it gives me the opportunity to intermingle them. And I think that is representative in my degree, going back to my degree. Right? It's representative there because, again, it was important for me to pull the things that I had together and learn some things along the way. So I have justice studies is a major portion of my degree, understanding city infrastructure, county land infrastructure, the legislation that goes along with that, how injustices show up in your highways, in streets, formations between who gets snow cleared quicker. Those are all places where you can have injustices that may be hidden or people don't see, and that impact the everyday life of those that experience them. So I kind of dedicated myself to understanding data and maps and making sure that when I was going to city council meetings or when I, work with the school board or even I work with the school and understanding the education curriculums that are there. So I know how to work with the career technical education programs because I do take part in making sure that our future entrepreneurs have a good path, and I'm invested in that. So all of those things are what dissects and intersects to now. So I've gotten my degree. I've bought a house. My oldest has moved out, Jalen. I don't know if my kids are in any of the videos. I'm pretty sure I talked about them, but Jalen is 20 and he has moved out. He is not far. He's about 15 minutes from us here. And him and his friends got an apartment. I'm really proud of them. They do really good. Added to my BJ's points. So I'm happy about that. And it's been nice. 8-year-old, 9. I don't know why I can't remember that he's 9. Anyway, 9-year-old, he's chilling. He's into 9/11 right now. Everything is all about 9/11. September 11th. He's 11. And he's just educating himself. He constantly watches YouTube videos, shorts. He knows the names of the families that were impacted. He is up on it. So one thing he wants to do is go to New York to Ground Zero. So of New York, and I think Christmas would be the perfect time to go to New York. So we are planning a trip for us to go to New York for Christmas. And again, I'm super duper happy about that. What else has been going on? That's it. I'm growing my hair again for the 1,000th time. I am going through a period of transition, and I always want to chop all my hair off every single time. That's how I end up bald-headed every 3 years. And I'm at that 3-year mark. It might be something significant to me in 3 years because nothing seems like it lasts longer than 3 years. Anyway, I guess that's another conversation for another video. So I normally chop off all my hair, but I decided against it right now. Like right now I'm just gonna chill. And I've been into the big blonde hair. I don't know. It helps me get shit done. It's like my thinking cap. If all the rest of my videos have big blonde hair, then don't judge me, please. I'm just trying to get shit done. Right? Let's see. Transition. HBCU culture is one of my favorite things. I won't say I don't have a deep HBCU culture, but like actively attending, I don't. My family is military. We're very heavy in military. I was in the Air Force. Aunts, uncles, parents. Both my parents were in the Air Force. That's how they met each other. And over the years, we've retired. We've gone to the service. We call it the service. Gone out of the service and gone on with our lives. And we all, not all of us, but most of us have gone to HBCUs. So you have me who went to Winston-Salem State University, and my cousin, she did her master's at Clark Atlanta. And then I have another cousin who's double majoring at, she's master's and bachelor's at Norfolk State, also in the Army. And then my aunt, she went to Virginia State, had another aunt that went to Hampton. And I'm trying to think. Oh, cousins. We got cousins at Johnson C. Smith, cousins at A&T. So HBCU culture is something that I didn't really realize that I was as close to, but again, didn't realize it. But my first experience with homecoming as the term in that practice and idea was with church. My family is from Southern Virginia, and they're basically a white version or a black version of every church out in the county in the rural areas. So our families and church out there was like our record keeping. If you want to find out about your family, you want to track your genealogy, you did it through the various churches that were there instead of, not necessarily you can depend on the county or the town to provide that type of information, but churches who held you the records of your births, your marriages, your deaths, where people are buried at. Like your church holds all of that stuff, especially if you're a member. So homecoming at church was once a year when everyone comes home to celebrate the church and the accomplishments that you all have made. Some very similar to HBCU culture. So I don't know. Yeah, and I know homecoming isn't like an HBCU thing specifically. However, we do it differently. Take pride in it. But I wonder if that is because we have homecomings in places in our culture, and if it is kind of why it's so ingrained in us and why it's important for us, as graduates and alumni of our various HBCU. Who's on Class Dojo? My son was a little this morning when I dropped him off at school. I normally don't drop off at school. We stayed the night out last night. We came home this morning and got ready, and I was like, I'm going to drop you off. And I dropped him off, and he was just like, he just didn't seem into it like his normal self. So I messaged his teacher on Class Dojo because they use Class Dojo. And she messaged me back and was like, he's been cool today. He's been great. I checked on a few times today. He's been okay. I was like, maybe I'm just being a helicopter mom. Maybe he just had a case of the Mondays this morning. Okay. Bang. So back to HBCU culture. So I beg to differ that it has a lot to do with churches and even ways for us to celebrate ourselves. If we have to think about the Great Migration, things that happened after slavery that impacted us to come back home, to be as a family reunions, gatherings that remind you of, where you are, a big, important part of life. So homecoming is really, really interesting. So now as an adult, I find homecoming is even more interesting. Let me plug this up. Okay. So as an adult, I don't live anymore, but I spent a lot of time in Greensboro, North Carolina, and North Carolina A&T State University is there, Aggie Pride. And it's its own culture, all on its own. GHO, it is the greatest homecoming on earth. And it kind of shuts the city down. Like, it's a big event for this. In the same way the NCAA tournaments are. We have the swimming championships that come here, the gymnastics championships that come here, figure skating championships that come to the now First Horizon Coliseum. And it can get really interesting. And it's kind of getting to be, I don't want to call it a shit show, because that's a bad framing for it, but I think it's bigger than its britches. It's starting to expand to the point of overcrowded and uncomfortable ability. And then, mind you, you have the mixture of people that aren't like actual alumni of the school versus residents of the city, people from the city, or people who just come out to have a good time. Because like I said, it's like a big event in the same way you would participate in like state fair or carnival or whatever. That's kind of how I participate at GHO. The friends, they have tailgates and a blast, So as social medias, and into everyone has something to say about it. Now we're like have hands on the ground. We're like feet to the shin. Some of the things that are the culture that may not be understood outside of the current setting. So you have now we have a bunch of HBCU homecomings happening in D1 school, like in bigger schools, and it's a lot of fuss about the way things are done, who got on what, who's wearing what, everything's a fashion show. But I also think that is still reflective of the institution. I watched a video not too long ago and said people who go to Howard are like everyone at Howard's main character, and I was like, I can feel that. Like, I would love to go to Howard, like, because that's how I feel. That's how I feel, and that to it. But you get some folks that say, oh, they, judge or this, that, and the other. And it's just representative of, things that are important to each institution. We have a good time. We have a good time. No matter what, we're going to jam ourselves with a good time. We got fun at the game. We got fun at the tailgates. It's not with the, and like I say, there are times that it does get crowded. It gets thick, but it's never an unsafe feeling or a feeling where something, it could get out of control really fast. And this year, the GHO and felt that immediately. And I'll do a whole nother video on my experience at A&T. So this is, again, it's never any shade. It's just my own personal experience and the things that are important to me and matter to me. So again, no shade, but some things, everything ain't for everybody. So, one thing that really kept is the fashion choices. Right now, the tennis skirts are all the fashion everywhere. Every school is talking about it. Everywhere is talking about it. It's just to talk about. And it reminds me of like, when guys used to sag their pants. That's kind of what it reminds me of. But the tennis skirts, they're short, they're cute. Sometimes you have some little cute shorts underneath. Sometimes you don't have any shorts underneath. You have a thong or, some cute little undies underneath. And my thought is, like, let people do what they want. First, let people do what they want. They're not hurting nobody. They're doing anything. They may be just hurting your feelings, or what you find to be respectable, or what you find on clothes to be attractive to you or be respectable to you. They put on clothes they want to wear. I got my tennis skirts off early in the season before the aunties was even mad, and I'm an auntie. I'm an auntie, baby. So I think it is just interesting to see The backlash, I feel like some of the women in my older are very just judgmental and hard going on the younger girls. And it was like, at one point, that was us. That was us, that people had their nose turned up with some, bad, not even say bad decisions. It's what's trendy, keeping up the trends. It's not, this stuff's not last forever. It's not wearing this church. they out at school, and then the conversation will leave something to the imagination. Turn around. Like, if you do this, it's a butt there. You don't have to imagine a butt. Everybody got a butt. Your dog has a butt. Your cat has a cigarette. Your cigarettes have butts. Let these girls let their butts go. We seen it with the sagging pants, right? We seen it's the girl's turn. Now their butts out. It'll be over. Mind your old ass business. That's just where I'm at with it. Again, leave that thing to the imagination. Like, imagine you mind your business. Because that's where I'm really at with it. I'm all for it. Y'all girls have fun. Y'all look good. Have a good time. Remember your experience. Remember your college. Don't let nobody tell you what to do and the rules are the rules. Be respectful for your dress codes and whatnot. But first things first, have a good time. And that's really just it. Auntie Sheena supports the shit out of you, okay? And I got links to the tennis skirts that I wore at Amazon store. So if you like those, check them out. That's that on crack. So over the last couple of weeks, I have been in another state of transition. I feel like I've been in transition all year, to be honest. Almost like for the last year specifically, I have just cut things off that just did not make any sense. Like this time last year, I was dating a guy and it didn't make sense. We had rekindled some stuff from like high school that, one of us had not grown up. And it to a point where it's like, this is not worth it. There was a lot of insecurities. There are a lot of things that I just didn't want to deal with in a day-to-day basis, especially when there was no reason for it. This was like trauma or past, stuff that I've been through. And I'm just like, and granted, I know I got my ways, but like I didn't do anything to hurt the person. So it wasn't anything like that. I'm not like trying to sweep anything under the rug. It wasn't like that. But I don't know. It's just after a while, you just get tired. So I cut that off. And then, mind you, like earlier that year, I had left my corporate job in April 23. Then me and that person broke up November 23. Go through Christmas. I fell out with, one of my aunts, my family. She was tripping and over it. So after that, it was just try to keep quiet. We have made some changes at Fiberspace and done some things so that way we could build a team. Things happened to where, gone to a company, which was great. Eventually what, the primary goal of their employment was to development to continue to build on themselves. Young women, I felt that was more important than the day-to-day operations of the business. So, there were some day-to-day operations, but they still could what they wanted to do as a career. So they kind of graduated out or grew out of Fiberspace. And then I decided, that's still a lot to undertake with 2 locations, employment and development. I want to be able to devote my time to things, but clearly this big old thing got to pay the rent. So we had to focus there. And it got to the point where it was just kind of making me sick, like literally making me sick. June, I ended up in surgery. I had a hysterectomy, which we'll talk about in a whole nother video. Had a hysterectomy, and that really kind of changed my perspective even more on cutting out things. I had that hysterectomy when I had Jackson. Like Jackson's 9. So 9 years ago, I thought I had this fibroid when I was pregnant with Jackson. And it continued to grow and grew and grew and grew and grew. And then there were more. In 2019, I started the medicine called Rion and started this, trying to trial treatment on shrinking the fibroids. So in my period, I didn't have a period for a year. It was like put body into menopause, and it was cool. But I had some other issues. It gave me GERD, really bad acid reflux, indigestion. And then that led to my gallbladder, ended up having to have my gallbladder taken out. So anyway, I already said I was going to do that in another video. So I needed to have that surgery done back in freaking 2015 when Jackson was born. But I didn't. And it continued to grow, tried to treat it, tried to do things, holistic things to, make it go away or at least slow it down. And it wasn't. And then it became, almost unbearable to manage. So finally the VA was like, this gotta go. So we chopped it out of there in June. It's been a wonderful experience. Again, that'll be another video. But that was when the light bulb came on, like, you're just putting yourself through some bullshit just to say you've been through some bullshit, not realizing that a little bit of, rest and recovery really was what I needed to kind of my whole thought process. And that was the key part. I didn't have the surgery because it was like, I don't have time to rest. I don't have time to try to recover from that. But the recovery was way easier on me than the actual debilitation of the disease of the fibroid. So now it's almost like I'm probably more obsessed with cutting things off like a maniac than I should be. But it feels good in this flow. It feels like I'm riding the ship, like I'm getting the life back that I should have had over the last few years. And there were so many things I did wrong in the last couple of years. So, things sometimes need a drastic change, a drastic cutoff, and say, okay, whatever. So come back from surgery and blood pressure still out of control. I'm constantly stressing about the building, constantly stressing about work and marketing, all the things. And at this time, people, business consultants, they're like, Sheena, I need you to get back on it. And I'm like, I need to, I want to. Like, I got this building. Something's got to change. Something has to happen. And because you know what? I'm not going to say I don't care. Let me take the steps to remove myself from this situation. Like, let me take the steps to rectify this monster of location, business model. It wasn't why I got into it. So I stopped. Like, I don't know. I can't shorten that any other way. I quit because it was not serving me or anybody else. And that building deserved so much more. That building was such a beautiful building. And it deserved to be filled with people constantly, like all the time. And that wasn't something that I was doing, nor Space was doing. So it just didn't make any sense anymore. So put it off. I'm constantly talking to myself. I'm constantly staring into the camera about things. I'm constantly working. I said, I gotta make this work. I gotta do this. Like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. All the chips falling towards here. So I blew the dust off of everything, all my video stuff, and here we are. So let's have fun. Hopefully my mic doesn't sound like ass cheeks and it'll get better, but we got some stuff to talk about, girlies. So like, subscribe, all the things.